Obviously, you guys saw the same thing I did. Uh, Very, very, very poor showing by us in the first half. Uh, that got us down. Got lucky actually to get to three before halftime. Um, got down 21-0. I was proud of our fight, and especially our defense in the second half didn't give up any. We just gave the 3 touchdowns up in the first half. Coach Freeze and his players, we knew they were a good team coming in because they were 7-1 and had played Wake Forest basically the same way we played tonight. On a game got decided on a 2-point conversion. So I want to congratulate them. They played a heck of a game. We just got to figure out a way to play 2 halves. We came out extremely slow and could not run the football. And their twist game we had 14 negative yardage plays, whether it be sacks. We had 4 of those, and we had 10 negative yardage runs, which we worked on it all week. But for whatever reason, we were having a hard time snapping the ball and have a hard time blocking them. I'm proud of our kids coming back and have an opportunity to tie the game there at the end. But we've got to get them ready, and we've got to play better for 4 quarters instead of just 1. And that's basically what we played tonight on offense, 2 on defense.
You touched on it there a little bit, but 14 TFLs by them. What would you attribute that to?
We weren't, we knew what they were doing. They had the same similar game plan against Wake Forest. Basically, they were twisting away from the back. They were trying to take our stretch play away from us, which we anticipated coming into the game and had blocked it up, obviously, a lot better in practice than we did tonight. But it wasn't some new scheme that we didn't know they had. They were twisting inside 2 and twisting the 2 away from the back and blitzing that side as well. We just didn't play very well. And getting kids motivated and things in the first half, that's up to the head coach. And we didn't play inspired football in the first half.
Y'all did eventually get a little bit going on the ground game late first quarter and the second quarter. Was there any adjustments y'all made to get that going?
Well, we were flipping the back a little bit. We hopped the back a little bit, and we went to some gap schemes. They were a little bit feast or famine, to be perfectly honest with you. They were running high right at KJ, making us hand the football off. We weren't throwing the ball very good. So that really wasn't an option. It was more run than run to pass. And they were running high on him and had another guy outside. And basically what we need to do is cut the movement, the twists off away from that. And we couldn't do it. And we were cutting them free at times as well.
KJ didn't really look like himself. Is that just a product of him being banged up, or what do you attribute that to?
He was banged up. He was banged up this week. He did practice every day. He didn't throw a whole lot this week, but he did practice. And I think he's sore.
And then, we already talked about the tackles for loss, but just an uncharacteristic performance for this offensive line. Just how do you go about kind of fixing that going into next week?
Well, we'll fix it. I mean, they're good kids up there, and they want to do well and all those things. They out schemed us over there. They out quicked us, and it seemed like we were behind the twist with the ball carrier, and we needed to get in front of it. And they were getting penetration early in the game with that, and we couldn't get the ball to the edge. We went back inside, and it seemed like their calls, they were twisting inside as well. It seemed like they had pretty good call for what we were trying to run, and we couldn't catch up with their speed is what it looked like to me without watching the tape.
What do you think about McAdoo's work today in the secondary and special teams?
Well, I didn't know, to be honest with you, that day that he was going to pick a pass, but I knew that he was going to play. I felt like he was going to play well from practice. So he started a lot of a couple of days in practice, played a lot with the ones. But he's a competitor, man. What a great pick. At that point in time, the game, I'd went for it on fourth. And at that time, the game didn't look salvageable at that point a little bit. And then he picked the pass and we got on a little bit of a run, but also he blocked the punch. He's a gamer, a freshman. I think he'll have a great career here. I was proud of him.
Coach, you mentioned it's up to the coaches to motivate the players. Did you feel like that there was a lack of motivation with the players, or that they maybe didn't have the right mindset going into this game based on that it wasn't an SEC team or a Power 5 team?
I was worried about it because of the way we played against Missouri State, but I kept trying to tell them about, trying to get bowl eligible, trying to, that, this team was 23rd in the AP, that Wake Forest was 17, and, they just didn't make it a 2-point player. They'd be undefeated. And I tried to, go with all those things to motivate. I thought we had a pretty good practices up until Thursday. And our walkthrough, we had a couple of mistakes on Friday walkthrough that is not typical. So I knew that we weren't quite as locked in as we need to be, but tried to adjust that on the bus during the practice, after the practice. But I was a little bit concerned about where we were mentally. But I certainly thought that we had a good game plan and that we'd come out and play hard and play together. And we didn't. Either that or they just were that much better than us in the first half. I would hate to think that. I would think that we weren't playing inspired football.
What was said at halftime? Was it a fire and brimstone speech, or was it a
Yeah,
motivation? Or
it
what?
was towards the coaches. And yeah. But the bottom line is that we need to find a way to play hard enough to win the third quarter and get back in the game. But we were making mistakes, on blitzes called. We were staying outside when we were going inside on gaps, and just a lot of mistakes that we made tonight, both offense, defense, and special teams. Just a lot of mistakes. We had a punt blocked. It's not good.
Yeah. What did you think of their quarterback? Apparently he had the flu this week, and then Bennett, played the whole game. What did you think of him?
Well, I thought he did a really nice job running the offense. Obviously their game plan was to get a lead and then use the 40-second clock the entire game, and he ran that to perfection. Made some really nice throws. And I think they got enough lead at half that they kind of quit throwing the ball a lot, and they were having success doing that. But I thought he played a really good game. He's a very good competitor, made some yards with his feet, and I thought he did a good job.
You had that one sequence where Rocket had 3 runs in a row, and you get it down there 28. And it looked like the ball hit Knox's hands in the end zone. What do you think of that play, and then maybe the momentum it kept you from getting?
Well, there were so many plays, to be honest with you, that could have turned the momentum a little bit, that certainly was one of them. But it just seemed like we were certainly out of sync, for whatever reason. And maybe it's because, KJ didn't throw the ball a tremendous amount this week, I don't know, but we were out of rhythm. He seemed to be out of rhythm, back there. Either that or we weren't getting open because he was having a hard time finding receivers.
Kind of leads into what I was going to ask. It seemed like on third down, y'all threw short of the sticks several times. Do you think it was just a matter of KJ not finding guys downfield, or what do you think went into that?
Well, I think so. I think they were giving us those underneath throws, and I think he threw one deep early in the second half, and the safety picked it off, and he may have got a little shy of trying to throw a deep ball, but those guys did a heck of a job of catching and getting the sticks. Rocket did one time as well, made a great play. Hazelwood and Landers made a great play on fourth down, but when you can't run the ball, you better be able to protect it and get open. And we 4 sacks, and we were trying to go to where we could have some success, and we just couldn't find it.
Hey, Sam, any consideration about putting Malik or Cade back there to spark something?
Yeah, I had talked to KB about it a little bit, and he told me what I need to hear, that KJ's our guy, and he'll get going here eventually, and he is our guy. So that was, in my opinion, that was the right thing to do, leave him in there. And he did. He got us all the way down there to evidently that far, to tie the game.
Sam, on that play, I saw you go like this at one point, and then after the ruling, what did the official say to you?
I just asked him why it took so long. If it, and he said, they were waiting on a pylon camera angle, but he said that from his viewpoint that he was short, his knee hit before the ball got it, because the ball was maybe half yard over the goal line, but he said his knee hit before. So,
Coach, the average distance to go on third down on 16 attempts today was 10.1 yards.
Yeah.
What were the struggles on first and second down that led to so many third and
we had
longs?
14 negative yards plays. So that would probably be the biggest thing. We couldn't block. We tried to run the ball, like we do, or we tried to throw the ball and then try to run it on second down. But today, instead of a lot of them being incompletions, they were sacks, or instead of it being 2nd and 6, they were 2nd and 12, because of negative yardage plays. We kept trying to, like I say, trying to move the back, trying to get some quick hitters, trying to do some things, but it never really worked until the fourth quarter.
What's next, Coach? I mean, obviously you can't let this be a defining moment of your program, losing this game. How do you get things back on track? And what did you say to the players in the locker room after
Well,
the
I
game?
just told them that, I told them a lot of things, Trey. But, we have LSU coming in here. So, we go, our job is to put the best team we can out there and win ball games. And it will be no different next week. We've got to bounce back on that. But we got to look ourselves in the mirror too, all of us. But with LSU coming in here, we can't do anything but go out and have good practices and work hard and see if we can't get a win next week.
It felt like, I mean, you keep mentioning, the TFLs and stuff, but it felt like on the running play, they were in the backfield immediately, and a pass play seemed like KJ just couldn't find anybody open, and they eventually got to him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I felt like I didn't think we were protected all that bad, even though, we give up the 4 sacks. I just, either he wasn't seeing the open guy or we just weren't getting open, because I didn't think our protection was all that bad. I mean, he was back there for quite a while sometimes, most of the time. And on the run game, it was bad. It was bad.
Some people have a theory that it's hard to get up week after week after week. In your non-conference games, you got Bobby Petrino coming in here, you got Cincinnati, you got this. You think maybe it's just difficult to be up week after week after week, given your schedule?
We've lost games since I've been here, but not like this. These games we've won since I've been the head coach here. And I know I might get tested on that, why I said that, but we hadn't got beat like this. And that's my responsibility. And I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, last year we went on a run and it was fun, you know. Every year I have found out every year is a little bit different. You know, the kids are different, the coaches are different. It's a little bit different, but I think it's our responsibility to have them kids ready. And yes, I believe it's hard to get up, but that's why they pay us. We need to get them up.
Coach, numbers too. KJ had 7 passes broken up today. That seems like kind of a high number for him.
Who?
KJ had
Yeah.
7 passes broken up. Was that just a product of good DB play, or was he maybe just not as sharp as you wanted him to be?
You know, I don't know. As I'm looking at it, obviously, he didn't play as well as what he had. I'll say this: he wanted to win. I mean, he was busting his butt down there at the end and making plays and trying to get us to overtime. He just didn't throw the ball as well as what he normally does.
Defensively, I'll shut him out in the second half. Was there a schematic change or just a matter of defense playing better, or what do you think went into that?
No, I don't think so. We didn't have, Barry went after him more. You know, we decided to blitz. We blitzed him, I think, the first 3 plays of the second half, maybe, or we decided to go after him and play some man-to-man coverage, see if we couldn't get him on the ground, which the blitzes were also a combination of run blitzes where, you know, if they had the ball off, we'd be in pretty good shape there to stop them from running the football. But I think the kids just responded, to be perfectly honest with you. They played pretty well. You know, the 4th down stop was a big stop, and the pick was by McAdoo was a big stop. So I think they just made plays the second half that we didn't in the first.
You keep talking about how it's the coach's responsibility to get the guys up for the game, which I feel you on that. But there's also an aspect too of what's holding this team back from having that leadership come from within the team, and what guys on the team do you kind of want to challenge to make sure that,
Yeah.
you know where I'm getting at?
Yeah. This team is just different than last year's. I mean, it's different. Last year you had 19 super seniors, you know, you had the Grant Morgans and you know what I mean? It's just different. Anytime that you have a lot of injuries, which we're getting our guys back, but anytime you have a lot of injuries, then you're playing some guys and then you're not playing them, you know, once the injured guys get back and this other. So it's a little bit difficult. And again, that's my job, but it's a little bit difficult to keep the team like this, you know. And we were doing a pretty good job of that. And I think we have done a pretty good job of that. But I didn't play good, or it's on me, you know what I mean? Like, we had a whole bunch of guys that, you know, would say, hey, I got to do better and this, that, and other. And we're continuing to kind of motivate that and get that better. It's just a different team, you know, than what we had last year. We had all those super seniors, and it's just different. I do think that we'll bounce back. I know that the sky fell today, but I think we can bounce back. I do. We need to. We've got to get bowl eligible next week, and I sure wish we would have this week, but didn't play well enough or coach well enough.
Thanks, Coach.